Welcome back to today's Personal Finance Show with me, Paul Merriman, here on Dublin City FM. Okay, so once a month I invite an entrepreneur on to talk about their business, and I'm absolutely delighted to have a friend and actually a client of mine, Sarah Catterson from Sarah Catterson Coaching, or SCC as better known online, in studio with me. Sarah, welcome to the studio.
Paul, thank you very much for having me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I'm looking forward to this talk.
Yes, I'm actually really looking forward to it. So for listeners, just to set the tone here, Sarah, you reached out to me a few years ago for a consultation in relation to personal finance. You spotted my content online, and I'd actually followed you and I'd seen your content online from a personal fitness point of view. And I remember we did an Instagram live one night as well, and we talked about the similarities between personal finance, personal finance and also the fitness industry and people's mindset, etc. But what I wanted you in the studio for was to talk about the phenomenal growth in your business. And I always say to people, a lot of people come to us for financial planning consultations and they obviously want to go wealth and they want to do really well in life. And you can say and you can do those things, but generally the biggest kind of clients that we would have are people that are entrepreneurs and have made really successful businesses, and your business is flying. So just to give listeners an idea, the followers you have are now nearly up to 500,000. You've really blown up online. Why do you think that is, and what's been the magic sauce in your opinion for anyone listening that's thinking of getting into the space or that follows you already?
Because I don't pretend to be someone else.
Brilliant.
And that's what I stand by. My ethos, my values, nothing changes. And right. I'm the exact same. Well, that's a lie. I'm not the exact same person than when I started my business. I've grown physically, mentally. I've learned a lot more, but I haven't changed to be liked. I haven't changed for, social media to like me or to become what I think is a very successful entrepreneur. It's just happened because I'm just passionate about what I do. Yeah. So, we spoke about this earlier. I never set out to make X amount of money. I never set out to have X amount of clients. While it's always a goal, it's just because I'm passionate about it. So I'm waking up trying to help people every single day. And, especially now, if coaches are listening to this or anyone in the fitness industry, it's very clear to see online that there's a lot of controversial topics online, and there's a lot of people out there doing things hoping for followers, for likes, for people to come in and buy their product. But they're not going to stay around if they then begin to realise that the person they've bought off is actually just doing it for the money.
Yeah. Or the fame, nearly sometimes.
For the fame,
yeah.
Exactly. And I just think it's just staying true to your values all the time. And at the end of the day, if someone doesn't agree with what you're saying or someone doesn't like your business, that's okay, because there's so many other people around. But it just means that the followers I do have are there because they believe in what I'm saying, they trust me, and I think it's just a big trust thing.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think from a social media point of view, we did a pretty much similar thing in Ask Paul. That when we started Ask Paul, we never dreamed it would end up being what it did, as in how big the practice we get, how many advisors we've had. We always tried to give that kind of jargon-free financial planning advice because we believed the industry was not good at it, and we wanted people to be better with their money. That's kind of passionate about it. I think if you're online, you're authentic, and that's what you're trying to achieve first and foremost, and the success will come with it. I suppose it's like anything in life, really, isn't it? I think people nowadays as well, you're right, can spot a fake a million miles away, and it kind of the service breaks down. So can you bring people through your proposition? And this is not a sales pitch, obviously, but for people that are maybe thinking of getting into the fitness industry or into the online coaching, it's not as simple as doing an Instagram video when someone pays you and then you give them a kind of a diet that's seen online anywhere, or the usual kind of program that you'd see anywhere. It is quite bespoke what you do.
Yeah, so I have 2 different tiers. So I have my SCC app and I have my 8-week challenges. So I actually began on a gym floor, and I worked my way up many hours on the gym floor working with women, and that stands to me with a communication standpoint, because I can talk to anyone. I have that in my background, and there's no shade for coaches now just starting online, but I do always recommend people starting a coaching business to try and work with people in person first, because that experience of being able to adapt and change exercises for people is very important. But I began my 8-week challenges then, and I brought it online, but I just felt that there was something that was missing in the market for women who want to make a change, want to have a program, want to feel good about themselves. But coaching is is financially difficult for a lot of women, and I'm saying women because I work primarily with women, but it is a big expense, and I wanted to help women on their journey at all stages. So I brought the app in. So the app is, you get your nutrition, your training, but it is bespoke. You put in all the food you don't like. You get everything that's built for you, but it's at a smaller price point of €30 a month.
And I think I did see you saying this as well. It was a really good point on Instagram last week. I think it was the Q&A maybe you were doing, and somebody asked you about why not just getting their own personal trainer, and you were saying in person it's the cost. It's purely the barrier to entry for a lot of people is trying to pay that, whether it's 50 quid, 80 quid or 30 quid a session.
Exactly.
They're doing 3 or 4 sessions a week. It is a massive barrier for people to feel that they might need to spend that money to get fitter or get in better shape. When you don't need to really.
Absolutely. I just wanted to have two tiers that, you know, I could help women at all phases. My next tier then is going up into the 8-week challenges, that it's working with me and the team every single week.
And then those check-ins, Sarah, because I think there's another thing that people probably don't realise maybe, or I didn't realise, was that those check-ins are done on a weekly basis. So it's like it's not an online COD. It's not just something that people are emailing back. It's a proper look at what you're doing, photographs, the usual stuff.
Exactly, but that's actually something that I stand by, so I'm very honest.
Yeah.
So with my app, I will say it's self-sufficient. There's no check-ins with myself. It's, you get your program, you get your nutrition, everything. You have a full support team that if you have any issues. But if you then want week-to-week specific check-ins with myself and the team, then you can move into the 8-week challenge. Use that for 8 weeks, and then you can go back into the app if you wish. But I'm very honest in saying that, because I've seen programs in the past that says you work with me every single week, and they're on the app and it's automated. It's, you know, you're talking to ChatGPT, and that's where the values and ethos, that's where people lose that, because they think that growing a business is just becoming this robot. But you have to remember you're actually trying to help and change people's lives, and you're messing with people's emotions then. Because they're, you know, it's hard-earned money. It's not just €30 a month for some people. You know, for some people
it's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment. And you know, women then sign up and they think, well, that's not what I signed up for. So that's why I have the 2 tiers, and just always being very honest about it.
Excellent. So you mentioned there about, you know, people taking the leap and paying somebody to do this and sign up to the app. What's the biggest, from a client point of view, what is the biggest thing people are struggling with the kind of, from a personal fitness point of view? Is it lack of accountability? Is it nutrition? Is it lack of understanding of weights? Is it fear of going to the gym? I suppose you get everything when you do your questionnaire. You're seeing something from everybody. What's the most common? Lack
of consistency.
Yeah.
But it's because the goal is too big at the start.
Right.
They're not realistic. And again, that's something I'm very honest with. When women come in and they'll say, I want to lose 20 kg. I'm like, brilliant. Absolutely. Let's go for it. But let's park that. And now let's work on the 0.25 kg first. Let's take that, because you can't lose 20 kg without losing the first 1 kg.
Very good, yeah.
So let's work on that. Then when you take that off, they get this like endorphin. They're like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm actually able to do it. Whereas if we didn't set a small goal, they're always thinking of the 20 kg. So 1 kg is nothing. They couldn't care less. They lose 1 and they're like, yeah, but it's not 20. So it's changing the mindset and realising that every single 0.1 kg, every single buttonhole that you can close, you're
on the way.
You're on the way. And that brings it back to you as well. Do you know, some years ago when I was saying to you, well, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? You're like, you're growing. It's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Just be consistent with it.
I think, and that's what I know I was there at the top of the show talking about, you know, the similarities between the personal finance industry and the fitness industry, and they're extremely similar. I find the same when people are coming in. They won't save, you know, €100 a month because they think it's not going to get them to that 100k. It will eventually. They won't go into the pension because, you know, you can't access till you're 60. You'll be 60 one day. So it's trying to they think about it too big and they don't kind of break it down. I always say to my clients, how do you eat an elephant? In small pieces. Just start small. Just start getting on the road to it. It's so funny. And then again, a mindset as well. So it's very, you're kind of saying then, I suppose, it's people, the way they think about the process or way they think about what they're doing weight-wise or physique-wise. So it really is down to mindset, isn't it?
Mindset's a huge part.
Yeah.
I actually put this up on my story on Instagram yesterday. Again, I'm very open. Sometimes my parents say to me, like, they find out stuff on my Instagram before they even know. But I put up yesterday that I had...
They didn't know about you getting engaged, didn't they, before you put on Instagram?
They did.
Sarah reached got engaged.
But I put it up yesterday on my story that I had a day back-to-back with calls, and Instagram shows a very nice highlight for everyone. I don't think people put up, many of their negatives online. And I was just saying I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed. But at the moment, I've been doing therapy the last year, and it's the best thing I've ever done. And I truthfully think you can't work on your physical or your physique unless your mindset isn't worked on first. Because you can go to the gym, you can lift weights, but that's only maybe an hour of your day.
Yeah.
So the rest of the day, if you're highly stressed, you're on autopilot, you're brain fog, you're running around, you've no habits or priorities in place.
It's easier to make the wrong decisions as well when it comes to your nutrition and your diet, isn't it? Because that's all obviously linked together too.
Yeah, grab and go. You can't think of even making food. You just grab something from the garage because it's just easy, convenient. And when you're highly stressed, that's, so I just always say working on your mindset. And we work with women massively on their mindset. Sometimes women come in, they actually don't even lose a kg, but they leave and they say, I'm now ready because my whole mindset has completely changed.
Very good.
And that's a win.
Right, so let's talk about the people that have gone through your programs, because you produce some phenomenal results. Like, the pictures you show online of people that have gone through some of the 8-week challenge, or people come back and do multiple 8-week challenges are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, how proud is that when that happens for people? And is it the messages that you get? I know I get a big kick of people saying, we achieved this, or we bought our house, or retired early, whatever it is. Like, that's the best part of the business for me, to be honest with you. Are you the same when you see those transformational pictures, or...
It'll never feel real when people write to you and they say you've changed their life. I kind of just sit there and I have to take a moment. Even now, like I've ran 27 8-week challenges, over 10,000 women, and it never will feel real because I think I invest my emotions so much into women. I don't see them as numbers. I don't see them as passing ships of clients. Like when women come in,
it's a woman. Yeah,
they're telling me about the fight that they had with their husband, and that's why they ate, because they were stressed. Like I learned so much about their life that even when they leave after the 8 weeks, I get emotional.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from passion as well.
The reason why I want you in studio is talk about business, and the reason I'm asking you all these questions, again, there's not a sales pitch for your online coaching, although I'd recommend anyone have a look at your stuff online, obviously. But what you're saying there is really the basis of business. Everything you're talking about and investing in your client and having those emotions and that's really the basis that anyone is today, whether you're into the fitness industry or any type of business, whether it's the personal financial planning business, if you're going to be a builder, no matter what you're going to do, this is what we're talking about. This is the basis of clients and customers. And once you treat them right, and once you can connect at an emotional point of view, when you're thinking about them before you even get into business, and then when they're coming through your process or your sale or whatever it is, the business you're in, it's so important, isn't it? It's just so important. And without having that, you probably wouldn't be as successful business was today, to be honest.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that goes for every single business, as you said. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I don't know if you've ever gone through, like, years and years ago when you were younger. Sorry, I've made you sound really old there. But years ago, if you had any money struggles or any struggles in the past, that you can then use your experience for people, and that's what I did. It's like I had a weight loss journey myself.
You're honest about that, and you share photographs yourself all the time as well. So yeah.
And then I am very honest that I took my weight loss too far and struggled that end. So now I can help women that need to gain weight and find the mindset really difficult. I can help women that need to lose weight. So I like to, not that I've used myself as like a little lab rat, but I like to use my experience to help other women.
Yeah, and I think that's so empowering, especially when people can see. I think the good thing about your industry though as well, I find it very difficult. Like we started the Ask Paul Investment Club, which I know you're in as well, but we invest, and I invest my money and I show people my account. I'd like to say from a fitness point of view, that's my 6-pack. If you don't have a 6-pack, but that's the closest I'm getting to one. As in for me, showing people where I put my money and how I invested, how much I've got invested, and when I went into the market, is the same as you showing your progress pictures, or showing where you were weight-wise years ago compared to now. So I think when you're quite honest and open, I think it's vulnerable to do that sometimes, and when you can then bring that into your business, it kind of amplifies it as well.
Yeah.
What's next for the business? What would you like to do next? What would you like to happen? Because you've achieved some phenomenal success over the last couple of years in particular, and like I think anyone listening that's ever even started or thought about starting an Instagram page, getting to nearly 500,000 followers is ridiculous from all the work you put into your content. But what would you like to see next? You've had the app, you've done the 8-week challenges. You started running. Your running stuff is on the app as well now, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's another thing on the app. What would you do next?
Oh, like I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and my brain is just like it goes wild, and I write things down on my phone. The challenges will always stay. The app will always stay. I definitely online coaches or anyone that works online. I think since COVID now, a lot of people will. You do get lonely when you work behind a laptop all day long and there's not much interaction. Like I talk to my camera all day long. I'm making content. Like I literally talk to myself all day long. You get the responses you want, so it's great. But I'd always love to maybe go to schools and help girls much younger. I think as well that I didn't have any education of nutrition in school. I'm not saying that schools are bad, but home ec, you're not getting the...
They are. Let's call it for what
I'm
it
allowed
is.
to say that?
Yeah, because I say about personal finance all the time. People leave not having a know. You were actually in there, you're on me. You said the same thing. You should have been taught this in the school. Yeah. So like it is. Let's call it for what it is. You're not really leaving school. What's the point of knowing what forms a rock or a volcano when you don't know how to look after yourself from a nutrition point of view or a financial point of view? You don't know about tax. You don't know about interest rates. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're kind of just thrown into the world with a lot of useless information. Yeah.
And I get a lot of moms that come into my challenges and they'll say, how do I approach this with my daughter, because she's in 5th year or 6th year, and there's just so much pressure with social media that it terrifies me. And even like when I was in school 10 years ago, there was that pressure, but it wasn't to the point that it is now, because Instagram and TikTok wasn't as big as it was. So I would love to go into schools and talk about nutrition, help girls with nutrition, but really talk about mindset and just allowing them realize that there's a lot more to being your smallest self and your smallest version of yourself. So I would like to do a lot more in-person talk. And I do have some things up my sleeve, but
you're not going to tell us today.
No.
I love it. I do love the fact that you actually even said it.
Yeah.
If you're always like, just don't stop asking me these questions. Okay, if you could go back and give yourself like one major piece of advice from a business point of view, where you've got to today, let's go back 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago nearly, what would it be?
2 things. Don't believe and don't trust everyone in business. I was very vulnerable at the start. Like I'd believe anything. Lost a lot of money doing that at the very start with mentors that I signed up to, and oh my god. But I do as well believe that you build a successful business from making mistakes. And I don't think any mistakes are a bad thing. I actually think you grow from them, because I have a much stronger mindset now with who I speak to, who I make agreements with, especially now with my business, that I make sure everything is above board. But when you're starting off, you are more vulnerable. You're in panic mode of seeing everyone doing really well. You want to do well, so you're like, how did they do it? That's one of them. And then hiring people. We spoke about this earlier. I was in denial for so long. I think there was a lot of imposter syndrome as well of, I was, it was just me. So I didn't understand how it was growing so quickly and how I needed people to help me. Still to this day, like the coaches that I have are incredible. And they'll even say to me, like, Sarah, this is my role, just let me do it, because I am that person of like, I just need to have full control. So it's letting that control is difficult. But
so you're a control freak.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I'll own up to that. But
you did call me old there, your answer's getting
I think actually anyone that owns and runs and builds a business has to have some form of being a control freak.
Of course, I'll be with you on that one as well, to be fair.
But just allow yourself to hire people if the business, because that's something I thought I was good at everything, but I'm a coach. I got into coaching. I am not the best at marketing. I'm not the best at, I know how to make an Instagram video and put it up, but like in this day and age,
you're very good at that, in fairness.
Yeah, but in this day and age, that's a percentage of marketing. finance. Like if I tried to do everything that you've helped me with, I wouldn't be where I am today because it's not my job.
Yeah.
You know, so just trying to not take everything on.
Yeah, I will second that. I think the success of our business was basically getting the right people in at the right time. Actually, probably too early. I think I mentioned this earlier on a conversation with you that we had, you know, we were a very small financial planning brokerage and advisory firm. We had a CFO, which was unheard of for our size. We had a full-time marketing director, and we had a head of financial planning. So we had like a lot of big salaries and big titles, and we were a really small business. But that really helped us. That really grew our business because I think I'm a really good financial planner and I love it. But yeah, I'm not that good at everything else. Even from the financial point of view with the business, I used to find it very confusing. I still sometimes do because I'm not that way. I'm not trained accountant. I'm a certified financial planner for people and extracting wealth out of business, but growing them and taxes and VATs and all at the beginning was a minefield. I think that's really good advice, trying to get people into the business.
And you gain time back as well, and time is the biggest asset when you're trying to build a business. If you've no time, you can't continue to grow. Yeah,
that's very true actually. Yeah, and as well as that, you have to have time to enjoy it as well. You have to have time off. Lastly, can we talk about Spain? So not many people might know this. Sorry, anyone that follows you will definitely know it. Maybe listening. You now live in Spain, and you're settling down in Spain quite nicely.
About all I know.
Same. I was trying to think of something to go back, but nothing else. Gracias. There you go. Yeah, there you go. We've covered the Spanish language today. How are you finding it, and what was the reason for it? And from a business point of view as well, has it given you space and more time to grow, being away from distractions here?
Yeah, so I moved after COVID, after lockdown. Luckily, I had fully moved my business online with COVID, and Anto, my partner, he worked online. So we just said we'd go for 6 months, see what it was like. I felt so claustrophobic, and I get a little bit anxious when I say that because there's so many people that wouldn't.
Yeah, it's not a negative. Yeah, it's how you felt.
And also, not everyone could just jet off to Spain after COVID. So, you know, I say that in the nicest way possible, but we went anyway just for a few months and just fell in love with it. I love Ireland. I'm from Ireland. I am not bad mouthing Ireland by any means at all, but I don't find myself as creative here.
Yes.
And even like from where I'm from, everyone's so lovely, but I would never pick up my phone and just talk to it, and I wouldn't really record content as much, and that is a large part of my business. I find I'm not 100% myself when I'm here, whereas when I went abroad I kind of felt like I had this fresh start of no one knows who I am. So, you know, if I walk around talking to my phone in the gym, you know, they don't care because they don't know who I was. It was like this door is opened that I was allowed to be this new person. I was allowed to just be who I wanted to be. And, you know, I come home now and I am that person, but it was like that allowed me to bring that person out. But in terms of business perspective, the fitness industry is incredible over there. It's absolutely amazing. The gyms, the lifestyle, you know,
the weather.
The weather, I know. I get really awkward when I talk about this because I know people are looking outside now.
It's horrendous.
It's
horrendous.
So my mindset massively changed over there.
I'm going to be very honest. We have kids that are 19, myself and Sarah, and then we have Luca who's 7 and Archie who's now 1. And I think it's safe to say if Archie hadn't come along last year, we would be definitely looking one eye and abroad. I think with kids it's very difficult to do it.
Yeah.
So I think fair play, and you're dead right. And I suppose from the fitness industry point of view, you see a lot of people do it. In fairness, the boys quite a big pull for people these days as well. You see a lot of influencers and people online in that space of going abroad, and it's great if you're young, free, kid free, that is. And why not? I think you're dead right. The climate's better, the gyms are better. I was wondering that was more the space, and I think personally speaking for you, from what I've seen you when you were here compared to being over in Spain, your content increased dramatically. You were free, I think, and that's a great thing to be able to do and achieve.
Absolutely. And like people, Anto always slags me, he literally would talk to anyone, whereas I'm, you know, I could go to an event and then I get socially drained, so I love my own space.
Right.
So for me being in Spain, like we have friends over there, but I really could build my business. Whereas when I'm here, I've slightly felt a little bit guilty doing that because there's a lot more friends and family to
I
see.
think as back there you mentioned that everybody struggles with it. I struggle with this big time, and even recently enough I still struggle with it, is the imposter syndrome. I think you got rid of the imposter syndrome when you went abroad because you could be that person. I think sometimes in Ireland, the setting you're in, it's very difficult to do it for people. So I think it's a great idea. I think if you can escape and get out of where you are, and especially when you're trying to grow, you lose those shackles, and that's not in a bad way, as you said earlier on.
And I think it just grows you as a person as well. Like, you're moving abroad is a big thing. It'll make you or break you in terms of you've a lot more responsibilities. I mean, if you just come from moving from home, you have to do everything yourself. It just opens your eyes a lot more. Yeah,
it does. Sarah, thanks a million for coming into the studio today. I've really enjoyed talking to you in this capacity. It's been great. No doubt you've added loads of value to listeners today as well. Can you give people where to go to find you?
Yes.
So best place to go?
Best place to go would be my Instagram. So my Instagram is Sarah Catterson Coaching. On there, my link in my bio has to my app.
I'm going to say drop your gal a follow.
No, it's pop your gal a follow.
Pop your gal a follow.
I need to get a tattoo of that.
Yeah, let's go now.
Yeah.
I'm not getting it, but you can. Pop your gal a follow.
With
Very
a little
good.
Dublin City FM underneath. Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram, and then obviously my website as well, Sarah Catterson Coaching.
Very good. And the app is available there as well, because you mentioned obviously the app for the 30 €. I do think it's very affordable. I'm just saying for people, so you can get the app through the website or through the Instagram page.
Exactly, yeah. And this, I'm just trying to save people money. On the App Store, if you go through the App Store, it's just way more expensive. So if you go through Instagram, it's cheaper.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. There's a personal finance tip as well. So go through Instagram, click the link on Instagram to download rather than go through the App Store.
If you go through the App Store, you'll get charged.
Well,
I know, it's a nightmare.
Man, never knew that. Okay, very good. Sarah, thanks for joining me on the show today. Really appreciate you taking the time to come in.